So what I want to do is I want to do a really quick video on the magic of the free write. Now, the person you can see on your screen right now is the Australian genius Ed Dale. If you haven't heard of him, that's okay. He'd be like a mentor to me, and I want to talk about something that he taught me, which is the free write technique. Now, this is a really powerful technique. Now, he is digital marketing mentor, let's say, or digital marketing teacher or trainer. Now, I want to talk about a free write in a different context, because what a lot of kids, especially boys, need to know is why they're doing what they're doing. So they're going to school, they're learning algebra, they're learning quadratic equations and linear equations. Why? Why? Because if you come into me now, I'm doing what I'm doing right now, this second, I feel is incredibly important. Incredibly important. So there's a million other things I could be doing. I could be playing football with my kids right now. I could be going on a hike with my kids as well. I could be playing at the beach with my kids. There's a lot of things I could be doing right now. It's actually quite a nice day out. But I feel that this specific thing is really, really, really important. Really important to do for my own reasons. So I'm doing this. But you could put a quadratic equation in front of me now and say, work. Now I know how quadratic equations work, but let's say I don't know how quadratic equations work, and you could put a quadratic equation in front of me and say, okay, work this out. Why this? How do you solve this problem? And the first thing I would say is why. Why? Why is that more important than what I'm doing right now? And a lot of intelligent kids are going to say why, and some will and some won't. That depends on personality structure, but a lot of them are going to say why. And if they do say why, do you know what's not a good answer? It's not a good answer to say because I said so. That's not a good answer. And it's not a good answer to say because if you don't do well in your exams, your life is ruined. I didn't do well in my exams, and I was told I'd ruined my life. I was told I ruined my life. And I can see people now who did very, very, very well in exams, and they don't have a great life. And maybe there's people who did do great exams and they do have a great life. But what I'm saying is exams are not the deciding factor. The exams were not the deciding factor. So what they said to me at the time was a lie. A lie by omission or just a lie. But what they were saying to me is the deciding factor of your life is how you do in these exams. That's not. It's the deciding factor of life is much more complex than that. It's to do with interpersonal relationships. It's to do with your marriage. It's to do with your career and work, and it's to do with whether you find something to do in your life that fulfills your soul. So it's much more complicated than a number on an exam, whether you get 40 or whether you get 80. Getting 80 is definitely better than getting 40. But life happiness is a lot more complex than that. So, getting back to the smiling guy on the screen now, Dale. If you do Colby, I talked about Colby already, and I talked about understandmyself.com, and for some kids, depending on the personality profile that they get from Colby and Understand Myself, a free write might be really, really, really valuable. Now, when Ed talks about free writing, that's who I learned it from. I don't know if he created the free write or if he learned it from someone else, but where I learned from is Ed Dale. And when he does it, he's talking about digital marketing, and it's a great way to get through blockages. And I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I don't know what I'm selling, I don't know what my product is, and you do a free write. And what the free write does is, and he doesn't say this, but I'm going to say this, is a free write pulls information from whatever you want to call it, the ether, your unconscious, God, whatever you want to call it. It's going to pull information from there, from the unseen, and it's going to put it down on the page for you. And it's something that I find gets better and better every time you do it. Every time you do it, you get more used to it, you get more information, and it gets better every time you do it. So, I am going to talk about the magic of the free write, take it from Ed Dale, and we're going to talk about the magic of the free write. So, what a free write is you take a page out. Now, you can do it, certainly do it on your iPad if you want, you can type. Ed Dale doesn't say you should type, but I'm going to say it's okay to type. I'm a very fast typist, and I have done the free writes a number of times with typing. But I'm going to assume that most kids won't be a fast typist, so that's, if it's not something that's natural to you, it's going to be a problem. So writing for almost everyone is natural. So the best way to do is just to pick out a sheet of paper and a pen and start writing. Now you put a timer on. Sometimes I'll do a free write, and this is actually very, very important. And I'll just talk about my experience, and then I'll talk about what I think kids should possibly do, because it's slightly different. But my experience is I put a 50-minute timer on. That's directly from Ed Dale. He says put a 50-minute timer on. And the reason there's a 50-minute timer is because you're going to write for 20 minutes and lots of stuff is going to come out. And then you're going to stop. Then you're going to have nothing left to say. And when that happens, you keep writing. So you just write whatever's in your head. You say, I can't believe I still have to write this stuff. I've written everything down and there's nothing else to say. I'm just writing for the sake of writing right now. So wherever you can write, you just keep writing. Because what happens is the magic happens while you're doing that. Because you've nothing left to say, but 5 minutes later, more stuff comes. More stuff comes. And that might happen a number of times. Now, I think maybe 50 minutes is too long for kids. You may want to have 15 minutes, you may want to have 20 minutes. But you do want to have enough time so that they pull the extra gold from their unconscious. Now, I'm going to say that they need to do a free write on their future. And this is a great way to do this is Jordan Peterson has a future authoring program. So that is a really guided way to do it, which is brilliant. But for now, just ask them to write a story about their future, where they see themselves, what they want to do, how they could help the world. How do they want to have maybe a sports car? Do they think they could have a flying car? Do they think, will they live in a city? Will they live in the country? Just ask them those kind of things. Who will they be interacting with? Will they have children? Will they have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever? And how do they see their lives? Because they need motivation, and motivation comes from the best motivation is internal. So that you can have outside motivation where someone's pushing you to do something, and sometimes you need a coach, and some of the best sports players need that. But I think motivation initially has to come internally, and you got to find out what they love and what they want to do, and this is a great way of finding that out. So you give them 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, depending on the age, and you ask them to write and say, you keep writing. Even when you've said anything, even when you've said something, you keep writing. Write more and write more. Write more. Get them to keep writing, and that's how you do a free write, and that is going to create huge motivation. So at least they know why they're doing what they're doing, and they'll also know maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe I just want to dance. Maybe I'm a hip hop dancer, and that's what I want to do. Now, I'm not saying if they decide they want to dance, take them out of school necessarily. But at least you get to some of their internal motivations. Maybe they decide they want to speak, they want to be a YouTuber, they want to, whatever it is. And maybe they just want to be a YouTuber for 3 months and they get bored of it and do something else. That's okay too. But it's about getting them in touch with their unconscious and their motivations. So that's the magic of the free write. And the rules are very simple. You pick a time, 20, 30, 40 minutes. It can be 50 minutes for an adult. You have a blank sheet of paper or a number of blank sheets of paper and a pen, and you write. And you write for all that time. You never stop writing. You don't take the pen off the paper, and you write what's in your head. Now you start off, obviously, if you're writing your own future, you start off, obviously there's a whole bunch of stuff that flows straight away. Because if I asked you what you want to do in 10 years, I think you could probably pick 5 or 6 things that you want to do in 10 years and tell me pretty quickly. But then you're going to get stuck, and when you get stuck, you keep writing. Whatever's in your head, you just write down whatever's in your head, even if you have to write, I'm sick of having to write all this stuff when I've already written everything down. Whatever it is, you just keep writing, because the gold will come. The gold will come after that. After you hit that plateau, that's when the gold comes. So this is Alan here. I wanted to just talk about free writing and the importance and the magic of free writing.